She ruled an empire of gold, a throne so magnificent that kings traveled months just to see it. Her people bowed to the sun, and the sun, they believed, bowed to no one. But one morning, a single bird carried a secret across the desert, a secret that would shake her kingdom to its foundation. A letter arrived, sealed, silent, and the moment she opened it, the most
Powerful queen of her age felt something she had never felt before. Fear. Not fear of armies, not fear of swords,
but fear of a truth she could not explain. What was written in that letter? And what happened when she finally stood before the man who sent it? Listen carefully, because this story is real.
Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let us know in the comments which country you're watching from. If you're ready, let's begin.
Far to the south, in a land we now call Yemen, there was a kingdom unlike any other. Its name was Sheba, and it was a place of unimaginable wealth. The Quran describes it in a way that should make us pause. Allah says they had 2 gardens, on the right and on the left. Rivers of water flowed through their valleys. Their soil was rich. Their harvests were endless. The fragrance of fruit hung in the air. It was, in every sense of the word, paradise on earth. And ruling over this paradise was a woman. Her name was Bilqis. She was no ordinary queen. She was intelligent, calculating, and politically brilliant. In an age when men ruled with iron and blood, she ruled with wisdom and patience. Her advisors trusted her. Her armies obeyed her. Her enemies feared her. The Quran tells us she possessed a great throne. Historians and scholars describe it as a structure of staggering beauty, plated in gold, studded with pearls and precious stones, guarded day and night. It was not just furniture, it was a symbol, a statement. It said, "This kingdom answers to no one." But here is where the story turns dark. For all their blessings, the people of Sheba had forgotten the one who gave them everything. They looked at their gardens, their rivers, their gold, and instead of thanking the Creator, they worshipped the creation. They worshipped the sun. Every morning they bowed to it. They built their lives around it. And Shaitan, the eternal whisperer, had made it beautiful in their eyes. The Quran captures this with chilling precision. It says Satan had made their deeds pleasing to them and averted them from the way, so they are not guided. Think about that for a moment. They were not stupid people. They were not weak. They were the most advanced civilization of their time, and yet they were blind to the obvious, blind to the truth that the sun they worshipped could not even choose when to rise. This is the first great contrast in our story, a people drowning in blessings, yet starving for guidance, a queen surrounded by light, yet sitting in spiritual darkness. And here is the question that should haunt every one of us watching this. How many of us live the same way? How many of us have homes, food, health, family, and yet rarely stop to thank the one who gave it all? We are not so different from Sheba. We just bow to different things. Some bow to money, some bow to status, some bow to their own desires. But far away from Sheba, in a different land, lived a man who had been given even more than Bilqis, and who never forgot his Lord for a single moment. His name was Sulaiman, a prophet, a king, the son of the prophet King Dawood, peace be upon them both. Allah had given Sulaiman power that no human being before or after him would ever receive. He understood the speech of the birds. He commanded the jinn. The wind itself obeyed his orders, carrying his armies across vast distances in a single morning. Mountains had once sung the praises of Allah alongside his father. He had everything. And yet, when he received these gifts, he did not say, "Look how great I am." He said something the Quran records forever. "This is from the favor of my Lord to test me, whether I will be grateful or ungrateful." 2 rulers, 2 thrones, 2 empires. One forgot Allah in her wealth. One remembered Allah in his power. And destiny was about to bring them together in a way neither of them could have imagined. Because one ordinary day, Prophet Sulaiman would gather his vast army and notice that one small soldier was missing, a bird. It began with an absence. Prophet Sulaiman was inspecting his ranks, an army so vast it included humans, jinn, and birds, all organized in perfect formation. And as a true leader, he noticed even the smallest detail. His eyes scanned the sky, the trees, the formations. Someone was not there. The Quran records his exact words. "Why do I not see the hoopoe, or is he among the absent?" A small bird, easy to overlook, but Sulaiman noticed, and then his tone sharpened. He said, "I will surely punish him with a severe punishment or slaughter him, unless he brings me a clear authorization." This tells us something powerful about justice. Even a prophet, even a king with absolute authority, did not punish blindly. He demanded proof. He demanded a reason. He left room for an explanation. There was an order. There was fairness. The tension builds. Where is the hoopoe? Has he abandoned his duty? Has he fled? And then, after a time, the small bird returns. But he does not return in shame. He returns with news. He says, and imagine the boldness of a tiny bird speaking to the most powerful king on earth. "I have encompassed in knowledge that which you have not encompassed." In other words, I know something even you do not know. Picture the silence, the entire army watching, a prophet who commands the wind and the jinn, being told by a bird that there is knowledge beyond his reach. This is a lesson buried inside the suspense. No matter how much power you hold, no matter how high you climb, there is always something you do not know. Knowledge belongs to Allah alone, and He distributes it as He wills, sometimes through the smallest, most unexpected of His creation. The hoopoe continues. He says, "I have come to you from Saba with certain news," and then he describes what he saw. He says, "I found a woman ruling them, and she has been given all things, and she has a great throne." But then his voice darkens. He delivers the part that matters most. "I found her and her people prostrating to the sun instead of Allah. And Shaitan has made their deeds pleasing to them and averted them from the way, so they are not guided." There it is, the heart of the matter, a kingdom of wealth, a queen of power, and an entire nation worshipping the sun. Now watch how Prophet Sulaiman responds. He does not say, "Prepare the armies." He does not say, "We will conquer them." His first concern is not land, not gold, not territory. His first concern is the truth. He says, "We will see whether you were truthful or were of the liars." And then he composes a letter that will travel across the desert, carried in the beak of that very same bird. A letter that will land in the palace of Queen Bilqis and change everything. He tells the hoopoe, "Take this letter of mine and deliver it to them. Then leave them and see what they return." Here is where the genius of the story begins. Sulaiman does not attack, he invites. He gives them the chance to see the truth on their own. He plants the seed and steps back to watch what grows. The bird flies across mountains, across burning sands, across the great divide between two worlds. And in her palace of gold, Queen Bilqis sits surrounded by advisors and generals, completely unaware that her life is about to be split in two, into the woman she was before the letter and the woman she would become after. She does not know it yet, but a single piece of parchment is flying toward her, and it carries words more powerful than any army she has ever faced. What will she do when she reads it? Will her pride win, or will her wisdom? The bird descends toward the palace. The moment is coming, and everything she believed about her power, her throne, and her gods is about to be tested. The letter arrived. We are not told exactly how the hoopoe delivered it. Some narrations say he dropped it before her, others that he placed it where she would find it. But the result is clear. The mightiest queen of her time was now holding a sealed letter from a king she had never met. She gathered her council, her chiefs, her commanders, the men who advised her on war and peace, and she addressed them with a seriousness that revealed her instincts. The Quran records her words, "O eminent ones, indeed, a noble letter has been delivered to me." Notice the word she chose, noble, honorable, dignified. Before she even read its contents aloud, she sensed something different about it. This was not a threat scrawled by an arrogant warlord. There was something elevated about it, something that carried weight. Then she revealed what it said. Indeed, it is from Sulaiman, and indeed it reads, "In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Be not haughty with me, but come to me in submission as Muslims." 3 lines. That was the entire letter. No long demands, no descriptions of his armies, no threats of destruction, just the name of Allah, a warning against arrogance, and a call to surrender, not to him, but to the truth. This is the power of simplicity. The most important message in the world does not need 1,000 words. It needs the right ones. Now Bilqis faced a choice, and here is where her wisdom shines, the very wisdom that made her a great queen. She did not let her ego decide. She turned to her council and said, "O eminent ones, advise me in my affair. I would not decide a matter until you witness for me." Her commanders responded the way military men always do. They said, "We are men of strength and great military might, but the command is yours, so see what you will command." In other words, say the word, and we go to war. They were ready to fight. They had the numbers, they had the weapons, they had the confidence of a powerful empire. But Bilqis was wiser than her generals, and what she said next reveals one of the deepest truths in the entire Quran. She said, "Indeed, kings, when they enter a city, they ruin it and render the honor of its people humiliated, and thus they do." Stop and absorb that. She understood the cost of war. She understood that when armies clash, it is not glory that follows, it is destruction. Homes burned, the dignified humbled, the innocent crushed. She had seen it or heard of it, and she refused to drag her people into ruin out of pride. So she made a decision, a test, a clever, calculated move worthy of her reputation. She said, "I will send them a gift and see what the messengers return." She would send Sulaiman treasures, gold, riches beyond imagining, and she would watch his reaction. Because in her experience, every king had a price, every ruler could be bought. If Sulaiman accepted the gifts, then he was just a king like any other, driven by wealth, satisfied by gold. And a king who wants gold can be negotiated with. But if he refused, then this was something else entirely. Then this was not a king chasing treasure. This was a man chasing truth. And a man like that could not be bought, bribed, or bargained with. The caravan was prepared. Servants loaded the most precious treasures of Saba, and they set off across the desert, carrying enough wealth to tempt any ruler on earth. This was the turning point. Bilqis had thrown down a challenge without lifting a single sword, a test of character disguised as a gift. And when that caravan arrived in the court of Prophet Sulaiman, glittering with the wealth of an entire empire, his response would shatter every assumption she had ever made about power, about kings, and about what truly mattered in this life. He took one look at the gold, and what he said next would echo through history. The caravan reached Sulaiman. Imagine the scene. Servants of Saba entering the court of a prophet, presenting treasures fit to dazzle the eyes of any human being. Gold, jewels, gifts designed to test, to tempt, to measure the heart of a king. And Prophet Sulaiman looked at it all and was unmoved. His response cut through the air. The Quran records it. "Do you provide me with wealth? But what Allah has given me is better than what He has given you. Rather, it is you who rejoice in your gift." He had no need for their gold. Allah had already given him more than any empire could offer. The wind obeyed him. The jinn served him. He understood the speech of animals. What was a pile of treasure to a man who held that kind of power and held it with gratitude rather than greed? Then his words turned firm. He sent the gift back, and with it a clear message to the messenger. Return to them, for we will surely come to them with soldiers that they will be unable to face, and we will surely expel them from it in humiliation, and they will be debased. This was the answer Bilqis was waiting for, and it confirmed her deepest suspicion. This was no ordinary king. A man who refuses gold is a man chasing something higher. A man who cannot be bought is a man who cannot be stopped. The test had given her its answer, and the answer was undeniable. Sulaiman wanted nothing of this world. He wanted their guidance, their salvation, their souls. And so Bilqis made the most important decision of her life. She would go to him, herself, in person, not with an army, but with humility, to see this man and this God he spoke of with her own eyes. But before she ever arrived, Sulaiman planned something extraordinary. He turned to his court, to the jinn and the men of power around him, and asked, "O assembly, which of you will bring me her throne before they come to me in submission?" Her throne, the great throne of Sheba, hundreds of miles away, guarded, locked, immovable. He wanted it brought to him before she even arrived. A powerful jinn, described in the Quran as an ifrit, stepped forward and said, "I will bring it to you before you rise from your place, and indeed I am for this task strong and trustworthy." Before Sulaiman could even stand up, that was the offer. Lightning speed by any human measure. But then someone else spoke, a man, one who had knowledge from the scripture. And he said something that defied all logic. "I will bring it to you before your glance returns to you, before you can blink. Not minutes, not seconds, faster than the eye can move." And then it happened. The throne, that massive golden jeweled throne of an entire empire, appeared before Sulaiman in an instant. The Quran says, "And when he saw it placed before him, he said, 'This is from the favor of my Lord to test me, whether I will be grateful or ungrateful.'" There it is again, that same humility. Even with a miracle before his eyes, Sulaiman did not boast. He thanked Allah. He understood that every gift is a test. Then he gave a strange command. He said, "Disguise her throne for her. We will see whether she will be guided or will be of those who are not guided." They altered it, changed its appearance, a test within a test. And when Bilqis arrived and was shown the throne, they asked her, "Is your throne like this?" Now picture her mind racing. Her throne was hundreds of miles away, behind locked doors and guards. It was impossible that this was hers. And yet, something about it was familiar. Her answer revealed her brilliance. She did not say yes, she did not say no. She said, "It is as though it were it." Caution, wisdom, recognition without certainty. She knew something extraordinary was happening, but she would not be tricked into a foolish answer. She was beginning to understand. The gold did not matter. The throne did not matter. She was standing before a power that transcended everything she had ever known. The walls of her old beliefs were cracking, and the greatest test was still to come, a test that would finally break through every wall of pride she had left. A flaw, a simple flaw, that would bring the queen of an empire to her knees. The final moment arrived. Prophet Sulaiman had a magnificent palace, and its floor was made of polished glass, so smooth, so clear, that beneath it flowed water. To the eye, it looked like a pool, a shimmering, rippling body of water stretching across the hall. Bilqis was invited to enter. The Quran says she was told, "Enter the palace." And when she saw the floor, she did exactly what anyone would do. She thought it was water. So she lifted the hem of her garment to wade through it, exposing her shins, preparing to step into what she believed was a pool. But there was no water. It was solid glass. Sulaiman told her the truth. Indeed, it is a palace whose floor is made smooth with glass. And in that single moment, that small, almost trivial moment, something inside her broke open. She had been deceived by her own eyes. What looked like water was solid ground. What looked like one thing was entirely another. And suddenly, she understood the deepest lesson of her entire journey. Her whole life, she had been deceived. She had looked at the sun and seen a god. She had looked at her gold and seen security. She had looked at her throne and seen power. But all of it was like that glass floor, an illusion, a surface hiding the deeper truth beneath. If her eyes could be fooled by a flaw, how easily had they been fooled by the sun? How easily had her entire nation mistaken creation for the Creator? And in that instant, the most powerful queen of her age made the most powerful decision of her life. The Quran records her words that should send a chill through every heart. My Lord, indeed I have wronged myself, and I submit with Sulaiman to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. She did not say she submitted to Sulaiman. She submitted with him to Allah alone, the Lord of the worlds, the God she had ignored her whole life while bowing to a burning ball in the sky. In one moment, she went from worshipping the sun to worshipping the one who created the sun. She came to Sulaiman with gold, and she left with something gold could never buy. She came as a queen of the dunya, and she left as a servant of Allah. She had everything before, and she had been spiritually bankrupt. Now she had submitted, and for the first time in her life, she was truly rich. This is the story of Bilqis and Sulaiman. But really, it is a mirror. Because every single one of us is walking across a glass floor right now. We look at this world and we think it is solid. We think our wealth is real security. We think our status is real power. We think our time here will last forever. But it is all an illusion, a test, a surface hiding the truth beneath. One day the glass will be lifted and we will see clearly, perhaps when it is too late. Prophet Sulaiman had more power than any human in history, and he said with every gift, "This is to test me, whether I will be grateful or ungrateful." He never let the dunya enter his heart. Bilqis had everything the world could offer, and it took a glass floor to wake her up. The question is, what will it take to wake us up? Will it take loss? Will it take pain? Will it take standing before Allah on the Day of Judgment, finally seeing the truth when there is no time left to act on it? Or will we be wise like Bilqis, wise enough to recognize the truth before it is too late, and humble enough to say, "My Lord, I have wronged myself, and I submit to the Lord of the worlds"? The sun she worshipped still rises every morning, but it rises only by the command of the one who made it. And one day, even that sun will be rolled up and extinguished. Only Allah remains. Only Allah was worthy of worship all along. The queen learned it in a palace of glass. The question is, where will you learn it? Don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We sincerely request your du'as, as we are going through some difficult times. Your prayers mean a lot to us and help us continue creating these videos. See you in the next video. May Allah be pleased with you all.